Ooh, this one looks lovely. I'm going to try this one.
What are you doing?
Just looking at recipes.
Oh, I love cooking.
I do. I love being adventurous. No, sorry, wait. You do not cook.
Yeah, I cooked for you when you came to my house.
Microchips? What's adventurous about microchips?
What about the side of tiger bread?
Really? Run titles. Hello, welcome once more to the Culture Cafe.
Where we explore arts and culture in Hull and beyond.
Today, our cafe dwellers, a food enthusiast, which is just right up our street, isn't it, Carrie?
It certainly is. I have to admit that I am extremely inexperienced in the kitchen, which some of you might find quite ironic. But 2 words for you: convenience foods.
Yes. What do you guys think about convenience foods?
Mark, what do you think about convenience foods?
Not very nutritionally valuable, just fills you up,
Yeah.
you know.
You can't sell a lot more for it than that, can you? And it's probably quite expensive actually. If you compare to making your own food from scratch, from fresh, which will be full of nutrients, revitalise you, leave you feeling really good. Then
And I
there is no
think
comparison.
the coffee culture is becoming a big part of Hull. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at chip spice, big part of Hull culture.
Today we're on the trail of one of Hull's cultural icons. It spices up our lives and some would say helps to define what makes us Hull. It began here. This was the site of Yankee Burger, not just any burger joint, as it once won Hull Restaurant of the Year. But that's not what secures its place in history, because this is the place where we got a taste for and a taste of American chip spice. But what is chip spice? If it's American, then why is it so much a part of the Hull identity? Is it really a Hull thing? I guess the person to ask, the people of Hull.
So, tell me a little bit about your first-hand experience at having chip spice.
It was alright. It was my first time. I had it before, but it's called something else here.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Does it taste the same?
It tastes the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you have it on your chips?
On my chips? Yeah.
It's not from America, but the person speaking now is from the United States, and I have to confirm that I've never heard of it until coming to Hull. So it must,
Right.
isn't it manufactured in Hull?
Have you tasted it? Do you like it?
I do. It's very nice. Yeah.
Do I like what?
Chip spice.
Never even heard of it.
Never had it?
If chip spice is a part of Hull history and tradition, there must be something about it here, in the local history section of the library. Disappointingly, nobody has written a book on our favourite condiment. Yet. But that's okay, because I've arranged to meet a man who can answer all of my questions. Edward Wilson. The Wilson family business is spice blending, and they invented chip spice. So first things first, what is chip spice?
American chip spice is a seasoning for sprinkling onto chips. So your French fries in the shop, or your chips, fish and chip shop chips, sprinkle it over the top. And it just gives them a nice sort of tomato, paprika taste as an alternative to, say, salt and vinegar, which would be the traditional.
Do you think it should be part of City of Culture?
I think it is part of City of Culture. I don't think that's anything to do with me. I think that's to do with Hull, the people in Hull. It's taking a natural course that is not in my control. I'm very happy, obviously, that it's involved. I'm proud to be from Hull. I'm proud the product's accepted here, and it's, the City of Culture is an amazing opportunity for Hull. It's nice to be chip spice, to be part of that.
In many ways, chip spice is typical of Hull culture. Celebrated, but almost unknown outside the region. But how long before some London hipsters open up a chip spice emporium?
That was Taryn exploring the spice of life. Now, I must admit, I am partial to a bit of chip spice. Patrick, what are your thoughts as a food connoisseur? Would you lower yourself to add some spice on your chips?
I just go for the good old salt, to be honest. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
I really do. Lots of it.
And what about you, Mark?
Oh, well, I'm a southerner, really, so salt and vinegar for me every time. I'd never really heard of chip spice.
So you've never tried it?
I have tried it, but when we moved here 4 years ago, it was kind of a bit of a an unknown for me. So it was,
A culture
a
shock.
culture shock, quite literally.
Okay, so potatoes, versatile.
Very versatile, and one of the things that's good about potatoes is we can grow them ourselves, we can prepare them ourselves. What do you guys think along that line?
Well, I mean, potatoes are great. They are easy to grow. They're easy to prepare. You can do so many different things with them, from just a jacket potato, which is super healthy and nutritious.
Versatile.
Absolutely.
Potato.
Through to some, you can do rosties, and mashed potato is always great. Add a bit of cheese in it and salad cream and stuff, and give it a bit of extra zing if you want to. But what you can't go wrong with a potato, can you?
You can't. And I think one of the important things as well is you can learn new things about making food, and we did exactly that, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
So
we had
Patrick,
the pleasure of Patrick's company.
Skills for life, ladies.
Yes.
Skills for life.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but you've forgotten them all now, haven't you?
So we went to Patrick, and he gave us some lessons in baking bread. Mystery package, are we ready?
I am definitely ready. I hope it's something warm because I'm freezing.
It's a bit nippy. Envelope number 1, Carrie. Bread is a vital part of our food tradition, but it is easy to forget how wonderful a really good loaf tastes. Oh, I love bread.
Forgot.
So we've arranged for you to have a bread making lesson with Patrick Crabtree, the owner of Feast Rising Bakery.
So we're going to see how easy bread making is actually.
Excellent.
So recipe's in my head. If you get behind your scales, so there's plenty of room to work. So we're just going to measure some flour into this plastic bowl. Okay, and there's a stack of flour on the floor behind you, ladies. Okay. Oh, bit of a flourish. Oh, darn it. Okay, never mind. Don't try that when it's full, will you? All right. Okay. There's a couple of jugs in that bag. So if you go into that bag and you want into that little plastic bowl 1 kilo of flour. So into there we're going to measure 20 grams of salt. The salt's in here, look. It's Maldon sea salt. So just a big spoonful and a bit more. So you can tip your salt into your flour now. And then just lightly disperse it through. Try and keep most of it in the bowl.
Slowly. Not that slow. Not that fast.
Oh, no. She's messing with me now.
Just gonna put your hand like that, just a little bit of a spider, and just turn the bowl the other way, turn your hand one way, and just slowly bring the flour into the water. When you're shaping bread, it's usually the repetition of one movement, okay? And our hands, with regards to this particular shaping of this loaf, rolls at 12 o'clock here, okay? They're never anywhere else, they're 12 o'clock, okay? And all we're going to do is fill the top into the middle each time. We're just going to move the dough around, okay? So just knit it down, that's it. And then a quarter turn.
Voila.
And it's really important we cover the dough over now, because if that goes crusty, it's not going to rise properly.
Yeah,
Okay.
even.
It looks like one of yours.
Okay.
Wow, look at them.
Just tip the tray up and slide them off.
With the
Yeah, like that.
with the paper.
Grab the paper so it comes away with it.
Woohoo!
Number 4, that's you, Kez. Number 5, Harry. Brilliant.
Perfect.
Well done.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you.
It's been a
Thanks for
pleasure.
having us.
Pleasure,
It's been
yeah.
brilliant.
It's been great.
Well, I think it's quite clear from that Patrick was more impressed by Kerry's baps, but I think I came up trumps with the old pizza base.
Well, let's not get political, Carrie. So it's easy, isn't it, making bread? We found it really easy, and I think that's one of the things that we need to try and get people understanding, that making your own food is easy.
And it was so much fun.
And loads of fun as well, yeah.
Yeah, once you understand, once you've done it once, twice, it just gets easier every further time, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And you enjoy it because of that. You enjoy it increasingly because of that. You know, the familiarity comes.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're more sort of, you're more likely to do it sort of spontaneously, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so.
Now, if people did enjoy the look of that, now you actually do lessons for the public, don't you, Patrick?
I do.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, if you just go on feastrising.com, you can have a look on there. There's dates on our website for up and coming courses.
Great.
Yeah, it's like a full day course. It's very comprehensive, but starts off from a beginner's perspective, and you can take home a lot of knowledge, a lot of theory, but also a lot of bread you've made yourself as well, which will be just as good as the bakery makes. You know, so
That's
under
great.
just a little bit of guidance along the way.
Well, the pizza was delicious. I mean, it tasted
delicious.
better than what I've had from restaurants, Italian restaurants, no less.
And I tell you, what follows really good home baking?
Is this where I have to make the brew?
Yeah.
See you in 3.
Welcome back to the Culture Cafe.
Where we have been indulging in all things food.
So we're talking about basic food. So Mark, what do you think about, it doesn't have to be fancy, does it? It doesn't have to be gourmet, but basic is one of the best.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, referring back to Patrick's courses, start with basic stuff. Start with stuff that's not too complicated, you can understand,
Yes.
and build up to it. Don't set yourself up to fail with something really complicated. You know, like the things you see on the TV sometimes on MasterChef or what have you. Start with things that you can cope with. It can be really nutritious, really tasty. And once you've got the hang of it, once you start beginning to understand how ingredients work together, you can sort of build in sort of some more adventurous stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is good food, Carrie?
Well, I do anything I can eat, to be fair.
Yes.
But, no, joking aside, I think it's more about re-educating as well. I don't want people to think that it's just for the young. I think me, as a 37-year-old, needs to go back and learn those basics.
Let's have a look at that. Darren will help us out now.
Britain's become a foodie nation. At least that's what it looks like through the lens of primetime TV and the Sunday papers. But sometimes a love of good food can seem a bit precious, maybe even a bit pretentious. Well, I'm off to meet some people that think that good food should be the norm. So James, what makes a good burger?
Keeping it simple and good ingredients make a simple burger. A lot of people like to have overcomplicate it with really fancy toppings, or they like to use cheaper alternatives, ingredients that don't quite cut the mustard. So for example, our cheese is hand grated, so it doesn't have any saturate on it on top of it. So it's not powdery and it gives it that nice flavour.
Now chips, I've got to talk to you about chips because chips is Hull's national dish, if that's possible. And yet it is really hard to get a good chip. Except for here, tell me about your chips.
Our chips are something special, something that we're particularly proud of. Again, we picked up the simple potato and chip and thought, how can we make it better? And the simple way of doing it was how we cook it. It's something special. So we get them here in Yorkshire. They come from the Wolds, they're freshly prepared. They get vacuum packed for us on site and then get delivered to us. And then it's how we cook them. So we cook them 3 times, hence it's triple fried chips. So we do a slow cook to begin with, which makes them all nice and soft. We then do a second one, which is slightly higher temperature, which kind of seals it all in. Importantly, we let it cool. By letting it cool, it kind of keeps breaking down some of the particles. And then we do a very high fry at the end, which makes them really nice and golden crispy. Then add a nice good lashing of salt and vinegar on top of them, and a bit of chip spice, and you can't go wrong.
Is there a difference between fast food and junk food?
Yeah, yes, there is. I would say the difference I find them is fast food, because it's heavily produced, it's often made with ingredients that are, they're cheaper to produce and produce quicker. And because of that, you sacrifice some of the quality. You can make fast food quick, but it's all in the preparation. I think that's the difference.
We probably all imagine that restaurants cook with fresh ingredients as a matter of course. But Rustica is a restaurant that prides itself on freshly made dishes using local seasonal ingredients. I sat down with proprietor Bogdan Philippe and chef David Johnson. I asked them, is it really that unusual for a restaurant to cook from scratch? So Rustica boasts that it produces fresh food and local food. Isn't that true of any restaurant?
This was actually the idea when we opened the restaurant 1 year and 2 months ago, to have always fresh products, because the quality is much more important for us than the quantity. So we don't want to compete with any pubs. They are chains, always, they use different kind of food. We use just local sources for fresh meat every morning. It's coming. Basically we order how many we sell roughly. We have always homemade sweets. We use local farms from vegetables.
Local markets.
Local market.
In the morning, in Hull.
Even from the garden. Take some strawberries, tomatoes. We make always the sauces.
You do need to look a little harder to find caterers that are willing to make the effort and find the best local ingredients. But they are everywhere, including festivals and street events. I caught up with Andyton from the Magical Tea Machine, not at a music festival this time, but at a much classier affair. So we'll talk about meat, and the reason I want to talk about meat and get it out of the way is because this is a vegetarian wedding. So before the bride arrives, and here's us talking about meat. So how do you source your meat?
We use T.L. Normans on Prince's Ave. He's a very good time-served master butcher. He knows all his suppliers well. When I pick the meat up from him, we check he's still using the same suppliers. His suppliers are in Driffield, in Pocklington. His venison comes from just Beverley Parks, which is not even 12 miles away from Hull.
You're getting vegetables from a local supplier.
Yep.
How local?
As local as we can, so we deliberately select the things that are in season first of all, with the exception this time of butternut squash, because it was a particular request of the bride. But the majority of them are local root vegetables, and the furthest thing is some of the onions have come from Spain, some of them are from France, the garlic's from France, the peppers have come from Holland, and everything else has come from the UK.
Do I have an obsession with local fresh food? If I do, then I'm not the only one. Mark Cleaver from Rooted in Hull thinks that a real relationship with food can have an impact beyond the culinary. Is local food important to local communities?
I think it is. I think local food should be important to people. I'm not sure that people necessarily recognise it. I think there's almost a hierarchy when it comes to food, isn't there? And some of it's around cost, but some of it is about engagement with. Some of it's about engagement with food as a thing, as something that we consume, something that that's important to our lives, something that's important to our health, and something that we understand its impacts, not just on us, but on the environment around us.
If a good meal starts with good ingredients, then a love of food starts early too. Here at Newington Academy, like many primary schools, they believe that pupils should reconnect with food, where it comes from, and how it's grown. Good food, it's not about learning how to cook, it's about learning how to eat. And once you do get a taste for fresh, local and seasonal food, it doesn't feel like it's a special treat anymore, it just feels normal. That's how it should be.
The thing with growing your own, my father grows tomatoes. And I am not kidding, when I had one of his tomatoes, I felt like I'd never eaten a tomato before.
She goes on about this all the time.
The difference in taste is immense. Now, Mark, in there, you mentioned the Rooted in Hull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that project, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rooted in Hull is all about trying to give people a sense of what is possible in an urban environment in terms of food. And doing so, one of the big challenges is there's not a lot of land to do that. So we've developed an idea of a kind of a micro city farm, which is all mobile. So we can put it on a development site, work with the developer, and use that space while it's out of the economic cycle. And when they want it back, in principle, the whole lot can be picked up and moved to another development site. And that way we can keep the whole growing cycle going without disruption and work with the city and the developers in the city.
And you're doing this in Hull?
We're doing that in Hull. We're currently just putting together the infrastructure, which should be open for 2017, City Culture Year, which would be fantastic.
Brilliant.
And it'll be open to the public. It'll be there to support a whole range of different people in Hull, including we're working with some of the homeless charities. We're working with Mind Hull and East Yorkshire, so on giving people the opportunity who've got mental health issues to come and join in, and a whole range of people like that. So
yeah, because I mean, you hear people that are avid cooks. They say that cooking is so therapeutic.
Well, it's not just the cooking; it's the whole process. It's,
well, yeah,
you know, growing food is and being out in the natural environment are all things that are really good for mental health. You also have to remember that food is the basis for good physical health as well. Before we had the kind of drug interventions that we have today and the surgical interventions we had today, if you were ill and you went to hospital, one of the primary ways of helping you get better was giving you good food. Now you compare that with the way we think about health today. You know, doctors are increasingly being able to prescribe things like walking. So, you know, it's also about getting people involved in good food to help with their health, both physical and mental. So it's, you know, it's a whole load of benefits from growing food and eating fresh food.
Absolutely. And Patrick, what's your outlook on it all? On
I mean,
healthy.
we're inundated, aren't we? You go around any corner and you've got food. Food is everywhere these days. It's not a scarcity.
Yeah.
And like Darren said on the video, good food should just be normal. It should just be
acceptable.
It kind of should just be the birthright of human beings, shouldn't it?
Because you get quite agitated, don't you, with the bread thing.
Industrial food, it's not good. It's made for profit, and your health is not one of their concerns at all. And
why would you, when your bread just tastes amazing, doesn't it?
Well, no, it does.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, even if someone who's not the best baker has made their own buns, I much prefer those. Just because you can taste the difference, even if they've not been 100% successful in that creation, it still tastes better than some pre-packed fairy bun.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you to our guest, and thank you. We've been The Culture Cafe, and we'll see you again soon.